So, before we move on to the Dread Waste, there are a couple of dungeons we gotta do before then. So, as you were seeing at the end of the last part when we were finishing up here on the Townlong Steps, Niuzao's temple was dealing with some stuff. Well, in a way we can kind of consider this to be sort of the actual finale. And then we're going to do another dungeon that's going to be sort of a lead into the Dread Waste. Because basically they both lead into... Well, we're now going to get quite a bit of a heavy focus, much more so on the Mantid and the Klaxi and all that when we get over there. But, yeah. Niuzao Temple extends across 2 fortified islands, far beyond a towering wall called the Serpent's Shrine. I'm sorry, the Serpent's Spine. Gosh, I can read, I swear. For years, tenacious Pandaren defenders have protected the narrow bridges connecting the isles, staving off any would-be invaders. Yet recently, the Mantid created their own bridge, a massive tree root, and seized one of the islands by surprise. Now, these brutal insectoids are poised to assault Niuzao's remaining guardians.
What is it?
We are sieging Niuzao Temple. You are known to us. Your help is necessary once more.
Watch.
I sent a dozen of my best men ahead to infiltrate the Mantid siege. None have returned. Since you are taking the fight directly to the Mantid, you will be in position to free any who had the misfortune to be captured. You will do this? Sure.
We serve so
The Mantid have laid siege to Niuzao Temple. Even now, wing leaders Nuranok and his forces work to cross the final chasm. You must stop him before they reconstruct that bridge.
The wall must stand.
So I've been doing this dungeon a few times, as you probably know. You can see a lot of the insects here that are working with them to kind of like utilize this and utilize a lot of the resin and the amber and such. Yeah. And believe it or not, the first boss is right here. This is Vizier Jinbak. Roams just beyond the Mantid's natural bridge, collecting the tree root's precious sap. Using his vast alchemical knowledge, this formidable being is transforming the substance into weapons and other tools that will help advance the siege on Niuzao Temple. Yeah. Also, if you stand in it, as you saw, I was getting a debuff just a moment ago. Let me see if I can actually show it to you guys. In just a moment here.
I need to target something first.
Let's see if I can actually show it.
Then my strength and skill will be clear to all.
Right here. Okay, right here, you can see. So residue increases damage taken from it by 100%, increases damage dealt by 100%. Now, as usual, when you encounter stuff like this before a boss fight, usually that's an indicator that it's going to have something to do with the upcoming boss encounter. By the way, you couldn't actually fight that boss just yet until you took down those guardians, because they had all that stuff around there. But now they actually have gone down. Now we can actually face this boss here.
Aha! The lot of you will soon wish you hadn't come this way.
So you can see the stuff in the middle of the room. You stand in it. Yeah. So he'll have all ads spawn in the room here. The sap puddle will grow over time, inflicting damage to all who touch it. It causes residue to attach to them, inflicting damage.
Alchemy.
And he will then do detonate. Where he will detonate the puddle, inflicting damage based on the size of the puddle. So the idea is that you're supposed to stand it to get the puddle to get smaller, because if it gets bigger, the detonate will just wipe the group. So you have to stand it and kind of mitigate some damage. Like, you know, in order to be able to... yeah, I think you get the idea. And then, of course, he's summoning also these sap globules, which will, yeah... they'll try to congeal with the puddle to increase its size. So you're having to manage these ads and be like, no, don't make the puddle bigger. And, yeah. And that's basically the fight.
I was... Who will...
Gotta be careful not to get hit, because then it slows you down. I mean, you're trying to make your way through sap. Of course it's going to slow you down. So I'm glad it's actually doing that, because then it's like actually makes sense. Like, of course sap is going to slow me down. Enjoy this version of Arcane Mage while you can, because one of my guildmates, who loves to main an Arcane Mage, told me, hey, don't get used to how Arcane Mage plays right now, because it's going to be probably getting changed quite a bit in the upcoming, you know, War Within and pre-patch and all that stuff. They're apparently bringing big changes to Arcane Mage. This is an interesting part right here, because this is going to be a part where you'll notice we can't actually attack those guys. You'll also notice these things here. Well,
Thanks for the save, but we're still stuck in the middle of the entire Mended Arm. Look out there. Too many for us to take head on. I have a crazy idea that just might work, but we'll need your help, heroes. Let's give these Mended a taste of their own medicine.
oh, I gotta talk to him to start it. So the boss is actually that guy right there, the commander. But you'll notice all these forces here. Well, what Commander Wojak lacks in strategic brilliance, he makes up for with raw ferocity. His devastating strikes were crucial to the Mantid's exploitation of their insidious bridge, allowing them to infiltrate the island. Yet devising battle plans is for the Mantid General. Wojak craves only blood.
Lee and Lo, get the sap into position. Let's get this party started, shall we? We've got your sap. Come and get it!
Fools! Attacking the might of the Mantid head-on? Your deaths will be swift. Swarmers, attack! Tear the flesh.
So the way this works is these guys will bring sap, and then what we're supposed to do is, as they're running up here, we toss it down. And we're like, haha, trying to get past that. So that's how it would normally play out. I, of course, don't need to do it that way here because I can one-shot everything in here. But yeah, this is how it would normally be. You're basically trying to toss these things. You're also supposed to do so with other specific types of enemies that are basically like kamikaze guys. Which, if they get hit by these sap, it will basically blow them up. Like, I think it's those demolishers down there. I think. But yeah, basically the entire group is supposed to do this. And just kind of cover this whole area in these Mantid tar kegs. Because, yeah. And you're just supposed to wait for all these like waves to go through before you can actually face the boss. You can see the demolishers carrying explosives, so they get hit by the tar, they blow up. Although apparently here it's not working. Aha! There we go. Boom! I guess in this case I just need to hit them and then BAM!
Worthless, useless, damn you!
And this just shows this guy's strategy. Just keep sending troops, we'll eventually get them! Like it said, he's not much of a strategist. He's not... he's like the opposite of... I don't know, Thrawn, if you want to think of, like, who's good at making, like, really good strategies and such. You know, usually Thrawn's name pops up when it comes to that, but Thrawn is a very interesting discussion topic.
Trample these weaklings! Crush them!
Warrior coming in! Focus your fire!
I do not have a target.
Like, if you have some good range DPS, other than just having them run through it, you can also, like, have, like, a mage or a hunter while those things are being slowed down to be able to get DPS down. That's kind of the general idea. And this is basically what this segment is like. And you have to go through this if you want to be able to fight the boss. And you can't just, like, run down, because for one thing, you can't attack them. But also, like, I'm pretty sure if they aggro to you, they would probably just almost one-shot you because of how strong they are supposed to be. When you just run down, they're like, hey, I'll just go kill them. It's like, nope. Can't do that. The game is like, nope, you're not allowed to do that.
Everything. Slaughter these cowards! They're making us look like fools!
I like that you get one demolisher, basically destroys the rest.
I require a target.
You have merely called the weak! I must finish this myself then. So be it.
So yeah, now the commander himself shows up. And he can be a pretty rough fight. Like, he'll summon more stuff, but then once he shows up here, he's going to have 1,000 Blades, Whirlwind. He'll have Dashing Strike, Rising Speed. Yeah, he just keeps, you know, stacking his attack speed. So he can be a pretty rough, dangerous fight. If you're not, especially if you're not paying attention or careful. So.
It was a trap!
That was fun, wasn't it? Lee and Lo, go look after our friends down below.
So you'll notice some of the prisoners are being kept in here that we were asked to free. And now they're going to come down here to help us get past this door. Because not really able to do that.
Ah, this gate is locked. But I think I have something that will open it.
Breaching charges. Of course.
Let me see here. 30-second fuse. Whoops, did I say 30? I meant 3. Go! Hurry! You must stop the siege!
So, little tip, pal. Don't do that on other things that require a countdown. Be like, oh, I'm sorry. Cut down that countdown by a lot.
Niuzao's forces attack from the rear. Niuzao will fall.
Very determined they are to take down Niuzao.
For the Empress.
Now, what Empress, you might ask? Well, we'll get to that. We will learn quite a bit more about this Empress when we go to the Dread Ways. But you can see a lot of the Mantid forces that are here trying to siege this temple. Now, of course, I've already shown you that we end up helping defeat this siege and saving Niuzao and his temple. But they don't know that. Not yet, anyway. So, up ahead is General Pavalok. The pragmatic General Pavalok does not fear the Pandaren or their allies, and he does not differentiate between using his own might and that of his Mantid armies to defeat his enemies. Victory is the only honor he seeks, and Pavalok will not tolerate failure should his minions fall short of their goal. Almost done freeing the prisoners. Just 4 more to free. It's okay, the general will wait for us.
He's like, what are you doing? Are you freeing prisoners? Ah, whatever. It does not matter. Go ahead and free your prisoners. Soon enough, it won't matter at all.
So I don't know if I can show the entire fight. It's actually kind of an interesting fight.
That temple will fall. You cannot stop my forces.
Yeah, I don't think I can show off this fight proper because it depends on his health going down. So he has Blade Rush. He'll throw his sword at a random player's location, doing damage, and does a knockback and a charge. Yeah. Now, as I thought, so unfortunately I can't show off this fight. When his health goes down, he will shield himself in a big bulwark and he'll summon reinforcements, and a bunch of Mantid will come down that hill to attack us. And that shield he puts up absorbs 1.2 million damage, and some of them will have, you know, sappers to bomb us. So, and then once that shield goes down, the fight will continue as normal. He does that a couple times. So that's basically the fight. Now, this next part is rather interesting. Because you'll see all these things right here, right? It's almost like a maze. And again, I don't think I'll be able to show off this fight proper here. Wing Leader Neranok. Neranok's decisive blows have won 100 battles. The small gains General Pavalok has made are nothing compared to the victory Neranok believes he could achieve if he were in command. Although his aerial attacks have thus far devastated the temple's guardians, the Winged Terror still longs for a chance to prove his superiority over the general. So, yeah. Let me see whether or not I can actually do this without... Although I don't think I can, but we'll see.
You may have come this far. You may have carved a path through my army, but I will kill you, and I will build the bridge.
You can see the bridge he's talking about. Literally making a bridge out of resin to get across so they can get to the temple grounds. Yeah. So he does some basic things here, like he'll throw a brick. Yeah. He'll throw a glob of pitch, like he did just now, which does this. And then it will harden on me. And I'm unable to move or act, because I'm encased in it. Yeah. And it slows me down, I gotta get out of it, so... Now, he'll also do quick dry resin. Now, when he gets down to a certain time of health, he'll do treacherous winds. What he does is then he'll fly to the other side, and then he'll have winds blowing this direction towards us. And when that happens, it's like moving us backwards like this, you know. And basically the only way to do that, because it'll blow up like up against here. All right, so hold on, I can't move because of the resin. But hold on, I think I'll just go ahead and take him down, just because I can't. Yeah. Okay. But basically, like, you have to kind of maneuver your way around these while the wind is blowing to try and get through here and get to him and fight, and then he'll do the same thing on the other side. And you basically have to use these to kind of get yourself to be like, oh, I'm going to get blasted up against here to make sure you don't get blasted farther back. So it's kind of an interesting mechanic I do kind of like.
We are the sword in the shadows.
13 thanks I give to you. 12 for those who you rescued, and my own as well. Here's something else I give to you in gratitude.
We serve so others.
The wing leader lies dead and the siege is broken. You have saved the temple.
Watch the shadows.
And so with the work we did over there, helping out Niuzao, along with what we've done here, we have truly helped save the temple. But this is not the only place the Mantid are doing this kind of advance here. They're doing an advance on one other place. A very important location that we absolutely have to help stop them from doing. And the place is that gate right there. The Serpent's Spine, this big wall. Basically, it's Pandaria's equivalent of like the Great Wall of China. It's like their version of it. And you can see it goes, I've shown it, it goes all the way up there, all the way down to here. And it's pretty thick. It's a pretty big, thick wall. I mean, just look at how thick this is, right? Pretty big, pretty effective, right? So as you can imagine, it would take a lot to break through. I mean, look at this gate. That's a lot to have to try and break through, right? Hold on. Like, this is a very large amount. Like, the kind of siege that it would take to pull this off. Well, as you can see... Well, sorry, hold on. Hold on. Let me get that back. Alright. As you can see here, they are mounting up quite the siege. With armies and siege weapons, catapults, war wagons. They have brought a very strong, effective siege here to take this place down. And we have to help out with that before we can turn our attention to the Dread Wastes. And that leads us into... the Gate of the Setting Sun. I'll admit, I'm not too fond of this dungeon. Mainly because some of the fights here, I'm not too fond of in general. I don't think it's a bad dungeon, but let's just say I've done it quite a few times, and, well, some of the fights I'm not fond of. Not really.
Move like the night. Be strong.
So... for generations, a massive wall called the Serpent's Spine has protected the denizens of Pandaria from periodic assaults by the rampaging insect-like Mantid. This brutal race's cycle of aggression recently began earlier than expected, catching the wall's defenders off guard. As the mightiest Mantid warriors charge the battle-worn gates, Pandaria must hold back the most devastating army in the land's recorded history. Yeah! Apparently, the Mantid are mounting their strongest army ever. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Considering what we learned just now in the Townlong Steps about how the Shaw of Fear is kind of, well, affecting the Mantid. Kind of interesting that then they would mount up their greatest army ever to try and attack the gates, huh? So this is Bowmistress Lee. We will be seeing her again when we, begin our questing into the Dread Wastes. Welcome to my wall. Now let's kick some Mantid butts. Yeah, she is the guard captain and watches over this wall like a hawk. So yeah, she considers this her wall because, well, it's her charge. And she's like, look, this is the wall I'm in charge of watching over, so I consider it mine. We need reinforcements. Someone has to fight through and light the signal flame. It's all up to you. No pressure or anything.
Move like the night.
The Mantid have something they call Raygon. It's a giant bug that they are using to bust down the wall's gates. Let's keep that thing from getting into the Vale. So, it's not like we haven't dealt with that before, right? You guys remember when we were down in the Valley of the Four Winds, and we had one of those gigantic things burst down that portion of the wall in Stoneplow? Yeah, we're going to see that that wasn't the only one they had. That wasn't the only big bug that they had to do that. They actually have quite a few. In fact, we will not only be facing one here, we'll be facing one in a raid called the Heart of Fear. Just so goes to show, the Mantid actually have quite a few of these things. And you can see, like, quite a few of their forces having to deal with a lot of the Mantid forces on this wall. And not all of them are going to make it. In fact, you're probably going to see quite a bit of death in this dungeon. Especially on the Pandaria side. Well, on both sides, to be fair, but yeah. This is Saboteur Kiptalak. The Mantid are no strangers to warfare, using technology to turn the tide of battle. The Pandaren stand little chance against munitions experts such as Kiptalak, who strike deep behind enemy lines and threaten to destroy the already weakening fortifications from within.
Gate! I'm gonna bring this whole wall down!
You can see he already has a bunch of explosives set up all over the place. So he will throw explosives around the room, because of course he will. These stable munitions right here. He will cast Sabotage, which puts explosives on you, which then shoot out those lines of fire, which of course, if you misalign them, can accidentally set off these munitions and do a lot of damage to the group. When he loses health, he'll detonate more explosives that are currently in play. So yeah, this could be a pretty, a bit of a nasty fight if it goes badly. Wah wah. Get it? Alright, defenders. Ah! So, yeah, they just got straight up yoinked off the side and killed. Like I said, we're gonna see, hold them off! Protect the archers! Lots of gliders. There's that army down there with, that I showed you. Look how thick this wall is. Whoa! So yeah, that's Rygon. Now, he's not as big as the other one we faced in Stoneplow, but he's still a biggin'. Now, you're probably wondering, how are we going to fight that in this dungeon? Well, you'll see. Although, I may not be able to entirely show off how it works. But you can see he's basically being a big battering ram. He's going to back up, and then... boom! Hang on, I'll save you! That's right, guys, you give it the go. Whoa! Yeah. A lot of dead Pandaren during this siege. Okay, this is funny.
We've got to go light that signal fire. Without reinforcements, they'll destroy the gate.
But the Mantid have overrun the area. There's no clear path.
Don't worry, I can make it.
What are you doing? There's no way you'll reach it.
You'll get yourself killed.
Why didn't he listen?
We've got to stop giving recruits those red shirts. They're just moving targets in them.
Have I ever mentioned how much the guys at Blizzard love Star Trek? Now, it shows him still standing there, but no, he's dead. Because, of course, the joke is that he was a red shirt. They just couldn't resist the joke. He was a trainee with a red shirt, and of course he runs out and dies. Ugh, they just couldn't resist. So, this is Striker Godok. The Strikers are an aerial component of the Mantid Empire's massive army. Among them are seasoned aces such as Godok, able to single-handedly rain fiery devastation upon scores of enemies. Godok and his minions seek to bring death from above to the gate's defenders. So this is an interesting fight, though it can be a little annoying. He'll do this charge thing, but the main thing about this fight, and this, of course, again, it's another fight where as his health goes down, he does it. When he reaches 70% and 30%, he will then do the strafing run where he'll go over here, he'll go across this way to the other side, covering this whole area in fire. Basically, if you want to avoid taking damage, you gotta stand over to the sides over here. And then he'll, like, go over to this side, and he'll strafe from there to that way. And you then have to stand over on those sides. Meanwhile, some other ads will fly in, like these little disruptors that will do acid bombs and strikers. Yeah, it can be a bit of a not-so-fun, annoying fight.
I'll hurl your corpses from this tower!
Uh-huh. So, he's gonna do prey time here. There's also the acid bomb. Nom 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 nom. So now we have to fire the cannons! To help clear the skies and clear up the way for us to make it over to that signal flame. We must light the beacon! Yeah, ignore the fact that the trainee is still standing there. That's a bug. He's supposed to be dead. We must call Rohan for aid.
The gates are about to fall! Quickly! Slaughter these meddlers!
Okay. And then once I lit the beacon, Logain sounded the retreat. This is Commander Ramak. He oversees the Manted ground forces relentlessly besieging the towering gates. Unimpressed by the defenders, Ramak calls upon countless reinforcements to vanquish those foolish enough to stand in his way. So this guy is a pretty rough and kind of annoying fight, especially because I've tanked this fight. The main thing I can't stand about this fight is this right here, Frenzy Assault. He unleashes a Frenzy Assault, inflicting 50% of his normal melee damage to all targets in a 9-yard long and 90-degree wide cone every 0.3 seconds per 6 seconds. And it can hurt. Oh, it can hurt.
There will be no escaping me.
Oh yeah, he summons all these swarmers too. So there's Frenzy Assault right there. So he even killed his own troops doing that. But yeah, if you stand in that, it's not showing right now because, of course, I am able to just kind of like shrug off anything he tries to do. But yeah, if you stand in the middle of his assault, oh, it hurts. Yeah. Now, I believe, I'll go ahead and show this off. If you're wondering, well, if he casts it, can you move out of the way? Yes, you also notice that we are constantly getting this trail of fluid all over the place. But yeah, once he casts, he stays in place, and you can just kind of move out of the way. But, as you can also see, if you want to quickly get rid of the swarmers, if you can direct them over, it's a nice way to get rid of them. Alright, well now we have to go deal with Rygon because he broke through the gate. Now, it should be noted that was the first big gate. Here's the next big concern. Now that he's in here, you know what he's trying to do next? Get through that gate. Which is tougher and thicker, you can see over there. But the big deal is because if he gets through that, they get into the Veil. And that can't happen. So, the idea here is that you have to then try to, you know, land here. And then try to, you know. So here's the thing about Rygon with this fight. Let me read his thing first. This colossal mantid spearheads the assault against the gates. Acting as a living battering ram, Rygon mercilessly hammers the Pandaren defenses, seeking to decimate any and all obstacles barring the mantid's ruthless invasion of Pandaria. Here's the thing about this fight. He has Impervious Carapace, reduces damage taken by 99%, and it's cancelled when the vulnerability is destroyed. So you're probably thinking, well, how do you get rid of that Carapace? So, in order to do that, he has his vulnerability, which allows players to ride on his head and attack it, which destroys the Carapace. In order to do that, what you have to do is actually get on one of these cannons right here, and get on his head and just kind of keep attacking until the Carapace breaks, and then you can get down here and just kind of continue the fight as normal. Now, let's see if, even with the Carapace on there, that I can just go ahead and, like, one-shot him. Nope. But it does trigger the fight, which gives him Impervious Carapace, which now allows me to do this. So, Protectors will come in, but what I can do is, like, hop on here and then... Whee! So there's the weak spot, as you can see. So we do that, which breaks the Carapace. So now we can fight him as normal. So then he'll do a Fixate. You can even see the Carapace broken. You can see, like, his head, half of his head is, like, broken off, and it's just kind of oozing, and it's all gross and disgusting. Yeah, it's pretty nasty to see. Pretty gross. But yeah, then the fight becomes this, where he's now, you know, does Fixate, he does Stomp, where every time he stomps, he'll gain Application of Frenzy, which increases the damage he deals by 25%. So at this point, it's basically a race. You're basically now having to do, but this now makes his damage taken increased by 300%. So you're basically having to do a DPS race here because, of course, he'll just keep getting Frenzy, which will just keep making him attack stronger and stronger. So eventually, he'll just be, like, attacking your tank like a truck. So you gotta pump the DPS at this point. It's probably one of the more, like, of the fights in this dungeon, it's probably the one I actually like the most. But, again, it's like, eh. It's like the only fight in this dungeon I actually like compared to the other four. Or the other three, I should say.
Keep the darkness at bay.
Outstanding! Your timing couldn't have been better.
Move like the night.
If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. Great job.
Stay vigilant.
So for now, we have been able to hold off, though you can see they're looking out at us going, oh gosh, they took him, Rygon, down. If they can take him down, we're in trouble. Retreat! Retreat! So we have held off their siege on the Gate of the Setting Sun for now. But that is now going to lead us into the Dread Wastes, where we are going to now be able to go in there and try to figure out what's going on, as well as investigate what's going on involving the Shaw Fear. So we'll be heading back to my main character and heading into the Dread Wastes. Stay tuned!